Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, I'm going to tell you why Cody Rhodes is being sued for almost $1 million.
We've got the backstage information on WWE's new Women's Championship.
Some pretty cool news about Saturday night's main event.
And there are some surprising names involved with WWE ID.
I'm Andy Murray.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And I'm not involved with WWE ID. But this is the news. I can confirm that part. At least, right, let's talk about Cody Rhodes' American Nightmare lawsuit. This broke a month or two ago, but there's some new details that have come through. I think it's because the case has made it to court now. But basically, if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you what's going on. Cody Rhodes is being sued for the American Nightmare IP by the American Nightmare hardcore band. This is my two worlds colliding right here. Wes Eisold, the singer from the band, he's the one pursuing $900,000. So basically the situation is this. Cody obviously heavily uses the American Nightmare. It's on merch, it's on his neck, it's his nickname, it's all over the place. It is a huge part of his branding. This is problematic because American Nightmare is owned by Wes Eisold. So that's a problem, Code Man. We're going to have to resolve that. So apparently there was an agreement. The case argues that there was an agreement in place between the two parties to where Cody could use that to promote himself, provided the merchandise that it was on also prominently featured Cody's name and likeness, or a significant signifier of Cody, and that must be 75% or larger. So if you picture a pie chart, 3/4 is Cody Rhodes and 1/4 is the American Nightmare, right?
That's the American Pie.
Yep, the Pie Nightmare. That's my weekend most of the time. But according to Wes, who's my best friend, obviously, that's why we're on first name terms on this video, Rhodes has blatantly, this is the terminology in the suit, violated the agreement by selling merchandise that brandishes American Nightmare, but not his name, his likeness, or anything else. This has led to widespread confusion, again, that's directly from the lawsuit, amongst the fan base of the band and the wrestler. This is all written in the court documents. Rhodes has not responded, he has not filed a response to the initial lawsuit, but he has until the 15th of November, I think is that Friday or something? Yeah, this week, basically. And Eisold is looking for $900,000 rewarded for the alleged breach of the agreement, according to the court documents. So, I remember when this first broke, I was really annoyed because it was I had a day off, and I was like, "Oh, cool! It's the one time I can talk about the two things I love most in the world." But actually, naturally, and it was also really funny because Wes just had to endure wrestling fans on Twitter for a day.
That was funny.
And he called everyone effing dolts, which was a good time. But yeah, he probably woke up and went, why have I got 5,000 lunatics in my mentions? But yeah, I mean, this seems pretty cut and dry. If he owns the IP and there's agreement, and the agreement has been violated, Cody probably owes him a bit of cheese.
Yeah, I do remember when we talked about this at the time, and it's one of those situations where to hear it as a layperson, which, we still are talking in terms of legally we're laypersons. Obviously you have an interest in both. We kind of all know the wrestling side. It's the only sort of thing this hinges on is when there's a sort of a little bit of vague language about like what constitutes use. So somebody else's 75 and 25 is another person's 90 and 10 or whatever. I always think of reasonable creative control when we talk about Bret Hart and the Montreal Screwjob as another example of like, well, how exactly can you stretch that? And that's, I guess, one of the things that's going to be debated here. It doesn't seem like wrestling has got a particularly great pass with when it can take the piss, as opposed to other industries that just look and go, no, you cannot do that. I always think about like Vince McMahon had the WWF lawsuit coming from the day that he agreed to the 1994 sort of idea. We're like, no, we're not going to promote the letters WWF. We're the World Wrestling Federation. We're the World Wrestling Federation. Let me tell you, as somebody in the UK specifically, there was only one WWF and it had nothing to do with animal conservation. So like he was kind of violating that from day one, and it was a matter of time before he got rumbled. I don't want to say that Cody's doing that here, but wrestler's going to wrestle, and sometimes people will look the other way. We'll see how this shakes down ultimately, but yeah, going back and reflecting on those American Nightmare t-shirts and the like, you would have been shocked to hear that there'd been an agreement about how much that was going to get used. I personally just get nervous if Roman the Cribs reigns and CM Block Party Punk ever come under fire, because I've never sensed any confusion with my bands and my favourite wrestlers, but who knows?
It's fun. And the confusion is right, because I legitimately, before WrestleMania 40, I almost bought an American Nightmare band hoodie to confuse people.
There you go.
Oh, Cody Rhodes!
Yeah.
No. Let me shower my elitism all over you, actually. Have you ever heard of background music? There's a black hole in the shadow of Peru? No, you haven't. Farewell, AM/PM. Come on.
I've never even heard of the wrestler. What are you referring to?
Shoplifting in a ghost town. Good stuff.
I like this band the more I hear about them.
There you go. You would not like them if you listened to them, but I love them, and they changed my life in like 2003. So, hey, listen, it doesn't matter if you like Cody Rhodes. It doesn't matter if he's your favorite wrestler. Look, if there's a violation there, there will be some kind of thing. Hey, who knows? Cody might just go, here's $500,000 or something. Let's just, deal with it or whatever.
I want Pharaoh called as a star witness. I want a dog on the dock.
You've dogs on the famous Dropkick Murphy song, Dogs on the Dock. Famous.
That's what it was about.
Boys on the Dogs. That's Fulham Football Club.
That was that. Right. There's a new belt in WWE. If you saw SmackDown on Friday, you saw the SmackDown GM, can't remember his name, unveiling the North American, the women's US title.
Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, that's the guy. No, it was the women's United States title was unveiled. There's obviously a new mid-card title for the women of SmackDown and Raw for the time being to go for. But Fight to Select came through with a bit more information about that, which kind of does flesh out a bit of confusion maybe around the hows, the whens and the whys, and the possibility of a women's Intercontinental title to go alongside it on Raw. The report said WWE women's roster wasn't informed of the new United States Championship announcement until the day it happened, which was Friday, and they don't know how the first champion will be determined. They also don't know if a women's IC title will be introduced as well. Yeah, the discussion about the tournament or the field in which we'll be able to compete for it did cross over SmackDown and Raw, but that doesn't mean that we won't be getting an equivalent on Raw as well. Obviously, when the Triple H creative era began, he set about splitting the tag belts back up. We had the world title. Muddy as that introduction was, the ultimate destination was obviously for both brands to have full sets of titles again. So it stands to reason that the women's division might be getting an Intercontinental title. We'll be reviewing SmackDown in full on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast channel today, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll go into a bit more detail about that, but just to editorialise slightly on that, I wasn't mad keen on it. I think there are huge issues within the booking of women's wrestling across North America. But in WWE, it's a kind of a big low point in a boom period. And I don't personally believe that belts solve problems. If anything, I think they create new ones, and they kind of highlight that they just replace the need for booking. I think we've seen it in AEW, the sort of deluge of titles on that show. Often titles become the story instead of the stories leading the titles. I would rather have seen an investment in, say, 10 to 12 new stories and characters for the women, something like an Evolution 2, and then the need for the belt be created by the groundswell. But sometimes wrestling does it in reverse to try and create the veneer of it instead. That's my take personally, and it seems as if the women were as surprised as anybody to see this belt sort of magically appear.
I think it's actually quite cool that they worked them a little bit and just went, hey, here's the thing, live on the show. I like approaches like that. Catching people off guard, right? It's good sometimes, but I do think this is a bit mistimed. I think that, like, if you fast forward 6 months, right, and the NXT has 700 very promising women wrestlers, right? So, like, some of them will be heading up soon, definitely. Whether it's a Stephanie Vaquer just getting shot up straight away, pretty much, or Roxanne Perez dropping the belt, or like a Lola Vice, or a Sol Ruca, Jada Parker, there's loads of them. There's loads and loads of extremely talented, promising women in NXT at the moment that will be on the main roster before long, right? So, like, 6 months from now, once a bunch of them have arrived, maybe this is a bit better because there's a stronger scene as well beneath the main titles. And if you look at the main title programs in 2024, or at least in the past 6 months, well, Liv Morgan's storylines have revolved around a man, not a title belt. And Nia Jax, I'm a massive reformed Nia Jax fan, but her run has tailed off a little bit as well since she became champion. It's not quite as fun as it was as when she was just causing chaos elsewhere. So you got the Tiffany storyline, obviously, and it's good that that's a storyline. It's good that exists, but you're kind of just waiting for Tiffany to turn on her now, and it's like, oh God, hurry up. So there's, it's an imperfect scene to be imparting another title into. Maybe if it was a year from now, or 6 months from now, or whatever, it might feel a little more natural. But hey, look, once more people are on the main roster and it's filled out a little bit more, and NXT is restocking as well, maybe it'll feel a bit better. I don't know.
I think so. I think they are. Maybe it's worth pointing out as well. Representation does matter, and the idea that a belt kind of forces us, like a second or a third women's story on SmackDown or a Raw if there is an IC one. So that's not for nothing. I just feel like historically wrestling does a very bad job with this sort of thing, and belts tend to dilute rather than enthuse. We'll see. We will see.
We will see indeed. But let us know what you think of the women's US title in the comment section below. Right, so let's talk about Saturday night's main event. Real simple one here. When this was announced, I think we all kind of sat here on the video and go, hey, make it retro.
Yeah.
Like, make it feel like the old shows, just for fun. Like, if it's a one-off or whatever, don't make it a full-on like parody. Like, don't be Southpaw regional wrestling or anything like that. But make it feel like it did back in the day when the business was the business.
Not love later.
Yeah, exactly. Not a Marvel Cinematic Business verse. That's happening. That's happening. So they're doing it, right? PW Insider. Full retro presentation for Saturday night's main event, which is next month. It's going to have full arena seating with the original setup. Lovely. So I'm going to see them red, white, and blue ropes, brother. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad they're doing something that differentiates it. This is going to be the big WWE show of December. It's a TV special. It's not a paper live premium event, but it's going to be a big show. It's going to have some kind of huge match on it. Yeah. Presumably good. I think that WWE nostalgia, it's not something they lean into as much since the creepy old man left. But when they have done it, Triple H has actually done a really good job. Of like, I remember his first Legend show, and it was like, oh well, these always suck, and it rocked.
Imperium chased off DX, didn't they? It's like, that is a complete subversion of what we've watched the last 20 years. Like,
So this is gonna be good.
Yeah, I've got high hopes for this. The trailer about a month ago, or whenever that first dropped, seemed to bring those two worlds together. Even when WWE brought back Saturday Night's Main Event in the mid-2000s, the first couple were a love letter to the original in the fact that how they started the show with the cold opens. People of you remember CM Punk kind of poaching that for those early collisions as well. There are certain hallmarks of that Saturday Night's Main Event era that aren't just empty nostalgia, but existed for a reason, for those that aren't aware. When Saturday Night's Main Event was a Saturday Night Live replacement in America, the idea was that an audience that would typically tune in for that cultural institution were given wrestling, and Dick Ebersol, as an NBC producer, wanted to help Vince McMahon make wrestling more accessible to this enormous audience, and ultimately was responsible for much of the way WWE produced television in the 80s and the way they went about becoming this production juggernaut that has existed, obviously through metamorphosis, to this very day. So Saturday Night Live has Saturday Night's Main Event has a more significant place in WWE history than some of its own in-house documentaries would kind of like to have you believe. So the fact that they're bringing back the branding and trying to like fold it into this current boom, I think is kind of inspired for a December idea, for a traditionally cold period for pro wrestling, or a time of year when people are starting to switch off. WWE making it kind of their grand finale for 2024 has a bit more flavour to it than just your standard December PLE. I love this. I'm excited about this. You do sense that a big title match for someone like a Cody, or a big night for someone like a CM Punk, is almost a guarantee for a show like this. I'm big in favour. I can't wait.
It's good. I just hope it looks different and feels cool. For all the fogies out there like me.
Speaking of looking different, feeling cool, and the fogies, you give me a perfect segue. I want to talk about WWE ID. A couple of signings were made over the weekend. You might have seen a video doing around that look hauntingly familiar to when WWE bulldozed the Brit Res scene, when William Regal rocked up to reveal Marcus Mathers of Game Changer Wrestling and Sam Hardway-Holloway of International Wrestling Cartel with their WWE ID contracts. It's William Regal walking into a locker room and saying, here you go, the work starts here, all that sort of thing. We're very grateful, handshakes, seats, the whole deal. Not dissimilar to the days of them being backstage at various indie companies and, signing the various Peaky Blinders of 2016. However, there may be some method to this particular brand of madness, because a surprising name has been revealed to be on the inside of the WID system, one Timothy Thatcher, very much an Andy Murray guy. Look, it's not just going to be William Regal and Triple H sitting down and watching tape on the latest wrestlers they've been told. There is obviously going to be more to this in the background. And per Fightful Select, Thatcher is involved in what is believed to be some sort of coaching or training capacity. In addition to the names announced, WWE does have some more familiar names in the fold that they're planning to reveal. From what we understand, the ID program will also extend to talent who are on the indies who have been signed to major companies in the past, assuming they are a good fit. Many of the deals, and this obviously refers to a lot of the ones we've been seeing drop on socials of late, were solidified quite a while ago. Some of the talent signed or agreed to have already worked for AEW or Ring of Honor dates since starting those talks. So consider you watching a Ring of Honor Rampage and the like right now. They may obviously down the line end up with these ID deals. The current list, just to quickly run through, Bryce Donovan, Cold Brew Cappuccino Jones, Cartwheel Jack Summit. Of course, Jack Cartwheel was on AEW as much as a couple of weeks ago. Real life action figure Gal, is that G-A-L? I don't know, that's from sure. Wrestling Open. Sean Legacy, Zeta Steel, the Petite Powerhouse, Zara Zaka, and obviously there's several schools that WWE are plucking from. Expect a lot more of this in the months and years to come.
Yes. Good to hear the Thatch man is involved.
Yeah.
The kids are going to be all right. I think the kids are going to be all right. Well, the idea of Timothy Thatcher like teaching like I don't know, Lola Vice how to do a cravat is like it's really a fun image. But yeah, no, I'm glad for him. I love Timothy Thatcher. I love that Walter's comments about him the other month, where he was like, he's never going to headline WrestleMania, but he doesn't give a shit. He's just going to do his thing. So this is like probably like for him, for Thatcher, it's probably like a nice compromise. It's like I can sculpt the stars of the future, but like with the way I wrestle, I'm not going to be on WrestleMania main events and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm going to do my thing. Like I'm not going to compromise who I am to be on TV and stuff like that. It's good. I love Timothy Thatcher for that. Legend.
He puts the hard and looking for the hard camera, doesn't he? Timothy Thatcher. There,
tough dude.
There is this is the thing. These WWE programs are not known exactly for their diversity of thought when it comes to coaching and teaching. No. But if this is a sign of things to come, that you can kind of be brought in from multiple different areas and then be given a teacher that suits you.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yes, this is it. It's good in a number of different ways. I know Wesley Blake is back. Back in the he's been training. I don't know if it's associated with ID, but he's been training people at the performance center. So it's nice. It's great to see people like Wesley Blake coming in and contributing to the system that they were previously involved in and stuff. So yeah, some of these prospects are really fun. I really like Taz's Starbucks order, Cappuccino Jones. I love his commitment to the bit, like cold brew, like his hometown in Coffeeville, I think it is.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's incredible. But I love. It's quite funny. The WWE saw Jack Cartwheel and went, "Nah, you're Jack Summit now, mate." And they went Cappuccino Jones, however. Let's go.
They know what
that's too fun. Yeah. That's too fun. But yeah, hey, look, we'll be back later on with a second news video today. It's going to be good as well. And if you liked this video, you can check out this puppy right here. The algorithm thinks you're going to love it. If you don't, pick up the phone and go 1-800-ALGO F yourself. More like buy